All right, continuing. By the way, I think this is number 9. That's pretty
Wow.
good. Yeah, man,
18 hours. Huh.
they go pretty quick, man. They go pretty quick. I mean, it's a bit less than that because there's a few where it's been like 1.5 and whatnot, but that's really good though. And we're going through this stuff pretty quickly. I mean, we don't get to like where we are in other places, other courses. Like it takes a month, and this is like stuff that people doing it like the full week every day. You know, it's like 40 hours or something in a week. But no, so we're doing pretty decent so far. Okay, so do you guys I posted the last 2 videos. I haven't posted all the notes yet and whatnot, which I need to do, which I will do after this because what we're gonna do today, we're gonna do over some important basic constructs. That's where we're gonna go. That's what we're gonna do. Because I realize, like I said, there's a few basic things that we need to get into our tool belt, right? Number one is classes and object-oriented programming, in which we kind of delved in there. We got the basic understanding, which is good, but we also need the fundamental tools of how a program works and how the flow works and how program logic works and what kind of data types are there. So what we're going to do today is first check out data types and what kind of data types there are and the ones we're going to be working with. And then we're going to be moving on to the basic constructs. It's called flow control constructs and looping. We're going to hit that hard today, or at least, to a point where you guys feel comfortable. And then once we have that under our belt, we're going to go back and use, go all out on classes again. I mean, we'll still be using classes and whatnot, but we will see. Okay, so while we do, let's create this document right here. So data types. Okay, so far, how many data types have we dealt with? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Beautiful. So let's go. Give me some data types. What do we have?
Integer.
Integer. Yep. Go ahead.
String.
Yeah. So that is string and car. Car represents one character, of course. And do you guys know long?
It's a number.
Yep, exactly. We're going to be using long a lot, and all long is just a big integer, a big number, pretty much, because integer only registers, I think, until like negative 32,000 to 32,000 or something like that, or 64. It's just some number, right? But long registers a lot more. Like if you want to use
It can be used as a non-integer, right?
what? Long?
Yeah.
No,
Anything with a decimal in it.
no. Decimal is decimal. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Yeah. It's whole numbers. Yeah, sorry. So long is just a bigger whole number, like bigger integer is a whole number. Then we have decimals. Decimals are pretty tricky because you could get, it's like 3.4 or 3.8. We were not going to be messing around with decimals a lot, but know that we can use them. They're numbers, but they're special numbers because, of course, they have a dot in it, right? I mean, it's just, yeah, but it's still a number. Okay, decimal. So those are the simple types, right? Let's just call them simple types. Okay. And we feel pretty comfortable with these guys, right? We do, right? Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to introduce something called a collection type of data type. So what comes to your mind? What does that evoke in your imagination, the word collection?
Maybe it's mixed integers.
Well, yeah, it's a collection. Oh, no, yeah. It's just a collection of something, pretty much, right? So the way we handle collections we're going to be using 2 types of collections. One is going to be called an array.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
right. And the other one is going to be called a list.
List.
Okay, so an array. Okay, so remember when I said one integer, right? Like when we have one of the simple types, one integer equals one number in space. I mean one memory, one space in memory. Sorry, I'm getting backwards.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay. And all it looks like, it's for example, in the new. I mean, you guys understand that, right? It's just a box, but just to be cool, right? I am going to do it right here. I'm just going to do a tiny one here, maybe. There you go. It's going to have a 5. And then we're going to call it, I think that we're going to call it just, you cannot move these things. Oh wow, you could actually, oh well, this is weird. Go
Man,
here.
weird. I haven't
Okay.
used that in a long time.
Yeah, I really should have been using something better. Let's call it num1 or something.
Is it not good?
Well, it's actually, I like it. I actually like it because we could do a lot of stuff with it. I mean, this sort of is okay, I guess, right? It's not too bad.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I find something better, I'll use it. Let's see.
I
So,
just use Google Docs because it's free.
no, yeah. Oh yeah, I forget the word. Okay, yeah. So it's just one space in memory. One space in memory, or one box in memory. All right. Okay. An array is a collection, or it's a collection of something of one type, at least for now. We're going to be using it for different, we might use it for different types, but for now, since we're learning, just stick to one type. So, an array is a collection of something of one variable type or one data type. So, you could have an array of integers, an array of characters, or longs, or pretty much anything. And the way it would look like in memory is, let's see. Well, can you guys think of anything that we could use an array for, or what we could use an array for?
Setting up our characters.
Well, yes, somewhat. Well, remember an array. Let me show you here. Let me show you right here. Yeah, I should have. There we go. Okay, beautiful. Just give me 1 second. All right, it's not too bad. I'll use this later. Okay, good. Let's go back. All right, so yeah, so again, an array is a collection of, it could be a collection of integers, of characters, of pretty much anything. So let's say you have a class, right? So an array represents a collection of things or a list. All right. I know I keep saying it, but it's kind of important for you to kind of get used to saying that or feeling that. It's a collection of things. Okay, so what is a collection of things that you can reference by looking into each thing? Like, well, one of the best examples that I've seen it's an apartment. Let's think of it as apartments. All right. So let's say you have an apartment that has 5 floors. Okay. And in each one of those, let's represent each person that lives in each apartment or each floor with a string, right? So a name. All right, the string. So their name are something of type string. All right. Or, yeah, actually, a string is fine. So I wish I could draw something. Let me see. So it's going to be something like this. So do you guys see how this looks here?
Yes.
Okay, so pretend that this is an array here. All right, forget about this. So this is what the array is going to look like in memory. All right, so since I chose, remember I chose 5. Let me see if I can insert a table here. Oh, ooh, hello. Oh, nice. Oh, you guys see this?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, apartment. Apartment. Array of names. Yeah, I'm probably butchering this, but it's fine. Should have been better prepared, but yeah, like this. All right, so yeah, so imagine that this is the array in memory. Okay, and in most languages, they have an address. So imagine, think of them as floors. So this is going to be kind of an apartment. So let's say I'm going to live the top one, the topmost, that is going to be the first floor. It's kind of backwards. You start over here at the top, right? I mean, actually, let's just do it like this. It's fine. I mean, you guys will get it. All right, so the bottommost, let's say I live here. Remember, these are strings, right? So should I put strings like this? Is it better for you? I don't know. Dave. We'll get there. We will get there. Okay, Dan. Oh yeah, well, yes, small 2. Bob. All right, let's get some Dawn in here too. All right. Shablip. Yeah, I'm taking this. This is pretty good. Okay. So, oh, this is gonna be good. Wow, this is actually better than I thought, because I think I can do this too. Insert table. Oh wait, did I inserted already, right? So we're good. Okay. Let me see where if I can insert it here as well. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I should have done this earlier. Wonder if I could put it one next to each other.
That's the hard part about this program. It's so hard to organize stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. Holy crap.
I don't believe it.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. Yeah, you could. This is yeah, this is just, yeah, you could do it like this. This we don't need anymore, I don't think. So let's just leave it there. Okay, so imagine we have an array with this, right? And we have the addresses. This is the first floor, the second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor. Okay, so far so good?
Yeah.
Okay, now the tricksy thing is that arrays in C# and in most other languages, they do not start at 1.
We're talking about a 0?
Yep, they start at 0. Yes. Although remember, you will be talking about getting the first item from the list, right? And so forth and so on. But it will actually be in arrays. It's 0. So you start at 0, and that is called, yeah, they call it the subscript or the index. Let's call it the index. Okay. Index based. Starts at 0. All right. So remember that this is kind of here. This is imaginary. I just added this. So far, this is what's in memory pretty much. Are you guys with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So keeping with this, let's see, how do I kill this over here? Delete cells. Delete entire column, I guess. Son of a bitch. Forget about that. I was trying to do anything to this. All right, let's just get this out of the way over here. All right, so it's an array. The way we're going to deal with arrays, all right, normally, let's say we're going to say var our array. Oh, let's just call apartments, I guess. Apartments, and then equals. It's a little tricksy the way you do arrays in C#. Let me see which is the best way for you. Hold on. Array. They already have some kind of. There
I think it's you don't always have to declare it as a variable, but if you do, it's pretty much guaranteed every time. Sometimes it's just assumed.
Was that?
Yeah,
sorry.
Implicit versus explicit.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch.
Declarations.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
arrays.
see what is kind of the best way. I guess I'll do this one. This one's the best. There we go. Yeah, I'm just trying to go with what's the best, the easiest way. I guess I'll go for this for now. But yeah, no, you're correct. All right. So let's not use bar. So first things first. I've kind of been skipping over declarating certain types or certain variables. So I don't think I can do that any longer, at least for now. In C#, when you declare something, the first thing that you need to provide is what type of data is it. So what we want to create an array. What kind of array do we want to create if we're creating apartments?
We want an array of strings, right?
Exactly. Yep. So let's see. You go string, and then you go like this. Okay. Do you guys see this? The brackets? Okay.
Yes.
That means that you're dealing with an array. Okay. From now on, brackets equals array. So let me put that over there too. Array. All right, so then what do we want to call our array? Well, it's departments, right?
Yeah, apartments works out.
Yeah, well, apartments, yeah, it was good. Yeah, apartments. And then we say new, there's so many. New, and then string. And how big do we want to make it?
If we have 5 apartments, we can make it Is it 4 or 5?
It's 5. Yeah, it's
Okay.
5. Yeah, it's total 5, but the first index is 0, so it's -1 somewhat. So, but the total space you're creating is 5. Okay, so a couple of things about, again, arrays. Do you guys see this? So I'm creating something of type array. This is a string array called apartment. And I'm just saying new equals, I'm just saying, hey, create this. Let's see.
I have a question about the use of the word new.
Yes.
Because you'll see this with stuff, you can already create a variety of things, and you'll call it with new. I'm not sure I follow how that works.
Sure. Like what things? Like you mean when I don't use new for the basic one, the basic data types? Or
I guess in this case, our strings, we could already have them declared at some point, and then we'll call them again later.
you mean these guys here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No.
So,
Wait. No, I mean, like, say we have this array. I'm not
Yeah.
doing a good job because I'm having a hard time understanding it.
no worries. Yeah.
But we have this array, and we'll call it again later.
Yes.
But we'll still use a new string 5.
No, that's it.
Does that make sense?
Well, we're not going to use a new string 5. From here on, we're just going to be referring to apartments where we're using that string. I mean, this array. Maybe when we see it, when we try to use it, it'll become maybe a little bit clearer.
Okay.
But yeah. So remember, right now what we're doing, we want to create the variable. This doesn't exist. All this stuff over here doesn't exist.
Currently, yeah.
Currently, no. This just, we will have to do that. And we will. But now we're just kind of creating the actual data type, which is an array called apartments. And it's a size 5. So that means there are 5, we set one contiguous block with 5 spaces in memory. So it's kind of like apartment. It's kind of like apartment building we created. Okay. So
5 rooms, right?
was that?
5 rooms.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear that. 5 rooms?
Yeah, it's not important.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so also, oh yeah, 5 rooms. Sorry. Yeah. Well, 5 apartments, 5 floors. Yes. Oh, exactly. Yeah, 5 rooms and 5 spaces. Yeah, that's what we've been using, rooms. Yeah, they're like boxes, 5 boxes. And the thing with arrays, right, is once you get here, once you declare an array, you cannot change its size. Are you guys good with that?
Very important. Yeah.
Extremely. So you have to be very careful when you create it. So you have to make sure you know what you're going to be dealing with, of how big do you want to make something. Because if you create an apartment for 5 people and then 10 show up, then you're boned. You're only gonna be fitting 5, right? You're gonna lose out. So now let me show you the goods right here. So we got an apartment. So apartment 0. So how do I put myself into apartment 0? Let's see. Well, I will do the first one to give you guys so apartments, and the way you address or you access things in an array is by giving it the address. Like, what floor do I live in? Anybody know?
0.
I live in the basement, baby. I live in the basement, like always. So you say subscript or index apartments. And then I'm going to put myself in there, Caesar. Yeah. So let's make believe that none of this actually we haven't created, because we haven't really. So this is up to here. This is how it looks. This is how the data type, the construct looks so far in memory. So apartment 1, apartment 0, I'm in there. Okay. Who's living currently in apartment 1?
Vacant.
It's vacant, right? Okay. So let's put someone in there. Let's put Dave in there. How do I put Dave in there?
One apartment's square brackets 1 equals Dave.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Right there. And the same thing. Let's say if I want it on the top apartment. Put Dan. So that would be Dan, right?
Rooftop, yeah.
Yeah, I got the good stuff in there, the good view. And Dave. Okay. Now, a couple of questions for you. What would happen if I were to do, you guys with me here? Okay, great. If I were to do this, put something on number 5. Is there something in number 5?
No.
You crash it.
It would crash, right? Because it's saying, yo, man, I'm trying to put something in number 5, but that address doesn't exist, man, so I don't know where I'm putting this. You know? That's exactly what it says. It says it looks in memory. It shows like, hey, man, is there a floor 5? No, there isn't. And then it crashes on you, and that is called Stack Overflow of some sort. Because that is Stack Overflow. You're accessing memory that you shouldn't be accessing. Or so you guys get this. You guys are pretty hip with this, right?
Yeah. Pretty clear, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it's where we start mixing it together is when it gets crazy. But that's why it's important to take it easy. All right, right here. Shablips. Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions now. I'm trying to come up with something that uses numbers. I mean, you guys get this. It's just a collection of memory of boxes and whatnot, right? Now, according to this, I need you to type it out and paste it. If I wanted to copy what's on floor 0 to floor 4, that's right, I'm moving up. That's right, moving on up. Yeah. Move me from the bottom from the basement to the top. Let me know if you guys when you type something.
What?
Yeah.
So move you from the bottom.
Yep. Yeah, from the bottom to the top. Yeah.
Huh.
How do we do that? How do you do that? How do you take me and move me from there to there? Or how do you put me there?
Damn it. Let me see. Stop it.
I love you, Corgi. My dog is back here chilling. All right. You guys got it? Well, how would you put anything on 4?
Does that work out?
Let's see.
Oh, that didn't copy right. Oh, I got rid of it. It's
Where?
supposed to be close at the end there.
Oh, that's actually pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Of course, you're putting an empty string, right? Into apartment 0, correct? So, yeah, I mean, something like this, right? Yeah, this is correct here. So you're taking whatever's in apartment 4 and you're putting whatever's in apartment 0, apartment 0, and then you're blanking out apartment 0, which is
Yeah,
by
there's
putting,
supposed to be quotes. Sorry
yeah,
about
no worries, no worries. Yeah. So that is good. That is good.
that. Is there a smoother way to clear that, to do that?
No, that's it. With arrays, you have to take step by step. No, that's as smooth as it gets. As smooth as it gets. Yeah. Because they're kind of separate spaces, and kind of separate spaces in memory in a way. So Dave, did you get this?
Yeah.
Sure.
Apartments. So you did apartments subscript 4 equals apartment subscript 0.
Yep. Okay. So now for me, how would you move? Let's see. Put Dan in the first floor. Basically copy Dan to the first floor. Let me know when it's good.
I just like to add that I like hearing you guys say Trixie like we're filthy hobbits.
Oh yeah, that's it's very important. One of the best words. The Trixie. What is this? All right. Are you good, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Are you all right?
Type in.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. It should be plap, 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 plap. You go flippity flip, flippity flop. Remember, you could copy some of his stuff and just replace the variables. We copy this stuff on what do you call that? On Discord. Ooh, the pressure, the pressure.
Actually, that's a fairly good point. We can use Google Docs as a group document. We can open up something there.
Oh, and we could fiddle around with it.
Yeah.
At the same time. That's actually a good idea. I think I'm gonna move that for next time or now. All right. So have you moved Dan or whatever's in number 4 to the first floor yet?
Let's see.
Yeah, Google Docs, I think it's a very good idea because then you guys can change some of the stuff that we're doing, that I'm doing here, which is what we want. We want to be a little bit more interactive. And we're going to need to be a lot more interactive for the upcoming lessons, I think. Because once we establish the basic tools, then we can move on and actually use them and use them together. Let's see. Well, that is somewhat maybe. Well, did you forget? Oh, I think I might have misspoken, maybe, or misunderstood. Yeah.
Maybe I got it first.
Yeah, I think so. Well, because I asked you to put on the first floor. I mean, put Dan or whatever's in the fourth floor into the first floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the first floor, not the basement, not the 0th floor, the first floor.
Oh.
Yes.
First floor.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's one thing we need to.
Basement.
Yeah, the basement. Yeah. So floor 1 instead of the floor 0. Yeah. So no, I think
Let me see.
yeah. And we wanted to put it in the floor 1. Yeah. Maggie. Yeah, just copy paste plap plap.
Let's try that.
All right. Let's see. Button 4. Okay. All right. That's actually not bad. That's you went an extra step there, which is somewhat all right. You actually moved Dave to floor 4,
What?
which is good, I guess. Uh, yeah. And then you blanked out floor 4, which is fine. So you took an extra step there, pretty much. Do you see that?
Yeah. Now I
Yeah.
realize it.
Yeah. So I mean, do you guys see my screen? See, it's a little logic. Yeah. So you guys see my screen. So
Yeah.
Then I blanked it out.
yeah. So in the first one, you moved Dave up here, correct?
Uh-huh.
And then you blanked him out. You took him out of there. You kicked him out. So
You
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Funny.
So that went away. Blip. And then you move Dan into the first one, which is good. I mean, eventually, that's kind of what we wanted to do, pretty much. You did what we wanted to do, kind of in a roundabout way, but it's still legit. It's still legit. I mean, an easier or quicker way would have just been, you know, apartment 1 equals apartment 4, and then just blank out apartment 4. So switch this to 1 and then 4, and then that's it. But I mean, you guys are getting the idea. Let's see. Let me go back here. Blip, 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 blip. Blip. And okay, just for the examples here. Okay, so so far so good on the examples on how this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it needs some practice. This is one of those things that needs a lot of practice and hands-on. Okay, so let's say we got apartments is fine, I think. Let's see. Well, so if I ask you to put Bob on the 2nd floor on index 2, how would you do that? You could just say it. Or type it. Either one's fine. Yeah, I want you to put Bob here. How would you do that?
I do apartments bracket 2
Yeah,
equals Bob.
that's right. That is right. Dave, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so this is good right here. Now let's do another example. Let's just do another example, just to be cool, just to be cool. So this it's an array of what? Strings, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. I like this. I like this. Is pretty good here. Let's do another one. Let's do a different one. Okay. Let's do a character array. You guys ready for that? How do I do a character array? You guys remember how to instantiate an array?
What do we want to call it? Car.
Oh, we want to call it name or word. Let's call it word. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's call it word. Okay, so I would. Was that?
Use the car in the square brackets.
Yep.
Word equals.
And let's make the word.
Is that okay?
10. Yeah. Oh wait, no, sorry. It's new car. Yeah. New car 10. So, what does that tell me? What should that tell me? Actually, let's make it smaller. Let's make it 5 again. Let's make it 5. What does that tell me?
You're creating a character array called word that has 5 characters.
That's right. That's right. So let's do this cool thing again, like we're doing over here. I dig this right here. So let's make it blip, blip, blip. Beautiful like this. And it
got a lot easier.
Yeah, it is, right? It's like blip, blip, blip. So total 5. All right. Word. So, are you guys seeing kind of what this is? So, it is an array of characters, and we're calling it a word. So, what can we represent with this? Let's just actually we could represent the word, right?
Any 5-letter word.
Exactly. It's good. F R E E. Free. Or fresh. Not fresh. Can we read fresh? Oh, fish. Yeah, like fish. All right. There we
Fresh
go.
fish.
Right here. So fish. Good. Okay, yeah, so word. So fish. So let's see. So if I have a character array with the word, well, no, not with the word because it's not. It's an array of characters. So what is in the basement, in the first index? I mean the 0 index of our array. What can we find there?
A character called F.
That's right. And one I fish. Can I fit a big word into our character array called word?
No.
No, correct. All right.
We could possibly create a bigger word.
Yep.
With the array, but we can't increase the array.
Nope, we cannot. That's kind of the sucky thing about it. All right, so I mean, you guys get this, right? And yeah, so it's like this. You got fish. Now, have you guys noticed? Now, I'm about to blow your mind, right? Are you ready?
Ready to be blown.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Me too. Let's see. Every string that you have encountered, right, is an array of characters. Ah. So you see these strings over here?
A string is an array of characters?
Yeah, it is.
Ah, okay.
You see how it breaks down? It's pretty sweet. So you could say, in a way, I'm about to kind of cheat here, but do you guys see So this represents an array, I mean a string, correct? Apartment 0 represents a string Caesar.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of might confuse you. Hopefully, it doesn't. But if I were to do something like this, we don't usually do this, but if I were to do something like this, what in your mind do you think that would represent? Or this?
Are we using it as like a matrix?
Something like that.
So,
Or actually, this word here. If you were to treat it as an array of characters, what would be what index would be the letter C?
that would be 0.
Exactly, yeah. And E?
1.
1, yeah. And that one would be 4.
So you're calling the array inside of the array entry that we've got.
Yes.
So apartment 0 has Caesar in it, but you're calling the first character of Caesar.
Yep. If we were to do that, but we don't really do that. That's just for me to give it a little check.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So just keep in mind for future reference that all strings, they are arrays of characters. They're made up of a static number of characters and is represented by an array of characters like this. You see it? So this. Normally it's kind of displayed backwards. You see, you start at array 0 on the top. So I mean, do you guys want to do that now, or you just do it in your mind later on? I guess.
I'm following the way we've got it, but
Okay.
it's good to understand how it's usually represented.
Yeah. Usually the first one, 0. Yeah, you write the top first, and then as it goes. Okay, so because it's kind of a queue. There we go. It's a word. So do you guys get this? Pretty, straightforward, hopefully.
Yeah.
Nice. And arrays are cool. Arrays are pretty nice. And you use them when you want to represent some kind of grouping that has a finite or something that you know the number of items that you're going to be dealing with. For example, a good one would be, let me give you some examples of arrays. For example, if I tell you a book, what is a book an array of? Remember, think of it as objects or things, an array of things.
Say words or pages.
Pages, yes, exactly. Now, you see, exactly. So a book is an array of pages. Now, what is a page? What is it an array of?
Words.
Yes, array of strings. So you see how you could sort of break most things down, or the idea of an array into a collection of things that can break down to other things. So so collection. So to put it an easier way, so pages, book equals, this is just ideas, right? New. How big do we want to make our book? Let's make it like Harry Potter. It's like 3,000, 2,000 pages, right?
Are they really that big? Jeez.
I don't know. No, it's like it's like 900. I think like 960 or something. Okay, there we go.
Lord of the Rings right there, man.
Yeah, no, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, exactly. So a book right here. Could be Harry Potter, it could be anything. Beautiful. Okay, so what is a CD an array of?
Tracks.
Yes. Or songs, yeah, tracks pretty much. Yeah, so track, array, and we call it a CD. Equals new. Track. And let's make it 10. Okay, so far so good. All right, so you guys understand the idea of an array so far, right? We're legit.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, an array could be an array of bullets, right? Because it's an array of one thing. It could be, and you could use certain amount of items in an array, and then when you run out, then you're out of bullets, right? Yeah. So it could,
That's the way to look at it.
yeah, it could be a whole bunch of different things. I mean, an array could, yeah, bullets could just be a number or something, yeah, but it's just some. Okay, so now next one for our next trick, we are going to go over. So remember, I said we're going to be dealing with two types of collections. One is array, and we got array down, right? Arrays are sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is list.
All right.
Oh.
So immediately, what's the difference? Because they can sometimes look the same.
That's right. It's dynamic. So the main difference, right, is that lists are dynamic and they're not sequential. Like, I mean, they sort of are, but they don't have to be sequential like arrays are. I will get, give me 1 second. We're going to be using lists most of the time. We're not going to use a lot of arrays. I mean, we are going to use it, but list is, they're a lot more powerful, and that's what pretty much everybody uses these days. Okay, so what a list is, it's a collection that you add items to and you remove items from at will. Okay, now the first difference between an array and a list, what do you think it is? I mean, what is the one thing about arrays that kind of really sucks?
It's stuck. You can only.
Yeah,
It's only as big as you create it.
exactly. Yeah, the size is static. Yeah, static size. Right? Let me put that over there. Exactly. Yeah. Static size doesn't change. So once you set it, you forget it. You have to forget it. You have no other choice, right? So, and also, so when you declare and when you're dealing with an array, you have to know how many items you're going to be messing with. That is kind of important. So, but when you mess around with a list, the list does not have any of those constraints. The way you work with a list is you say, let's have on a list of numbers. I mean, a rest of strings. You say what type, then apartments, and then you say new, and then you say list. Okay, and these brackets, don't be afraid of these brackets, right? This is what kind of data, whatever goes in here, what kind of data you want the list to be or represent. It's called strings type.
So like integer or string or.
Yeah, so it's gonna be string here. So it's string. So in here you would have the same. You could say var to, it's a shorthand because this is what makes it. But for now, since we're learning, you have to say, yeah.
You say it's strong type. I understand that the language itself is assumed to be strong type.
Most of the time, yeah, it is. You don't have to.
Yeah. I was gonna say, how do you know? Because it seems like that's how it's defined as being strongly typed. How do you
Um,
know when you're in or out of that mode?
oh no, well, no. Most of the time, you are messing around with strongly typed things because when you create something, you say, "Hey, I want something of this type," because I know I'm going to be dealing with an integer or a string or an array of integers or anything else, right? So in our world, we've only seen things that are strongly typed because we make it so. So far, so
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
But there later on, we will get into something called an object. Let me here. Yeah, something called an object. And an object is a type. But let's say that the object is the mother of all types of everything we create. So remember how we spoke about how all of these things they're kind of like a box in memory, right?
Hmm.
And it's a type that we're creating, and it has a different, it has a shape of that kind of type. Okay, object can be of any type. So, and everything we create is an object in a way, because everything we're messing with are classes in a way, and they come from the bit, from this base type, which is an object.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, so if we had a number, can you put, if we had a number, like we had something of type integer, right? And can you put a string into an integer?
No.
No, right? It doesn't fit. So when, so we can, there's a way that we can use the type object to make anything fit into it. You package it and put it in there, and
Huh.
it fits, and it's pretty cool. But the thing is, once you put it in there, you won't know what type it is. So it's like, hey, what's in here? It's kind of like a mystery thing. So when you unpackage it, you have to say, hey, I think the information's in here. It's string, so try to extract it from the package as a string and see if it works.
So you're gonna have to have more like error handling.
Bam! Exactly. Yes. It is a kind of error handling or a type of conversion. Yes. So normally that happens when we're compiling things, right? So let me ask you a question. So since a lot of these things are strongly typed, the compiler doesn't need to do that, and therefore it's faster, right? Since it doesn't need to figure out, it's like, hey man, I don't know what's in this package. I don't know what kind of, I mean, like I know what kind of data is in here. It's strings. I'm good. But if you're messing around with other things that are not clearly, they don't, the type is not set, then it takes a little bit of overhead. But it's powerful in its own way. Yeah, sorry, we kind of went on a tangent there. But that's good though. That's a good question. That is a good question. So here, so we have apartments, and we have created apartments. We have a list. Uh, our list is, we call it apartments. And what kind of information? What kind of list is going to be our list? What kind of information is going to have?
Are we gonna do a string again with people in them?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's strings. You guys see it? So apartments. So the cool thing about apartments, right, is the way you put stuff into it is you say apartments dot add, and then you put the stuff you want to put in there. So let's say I want to put Caesar. All right. So the way this looks in memory, it's a little different, or a little bit it's sort of the same thing in your mind. You could sort of imagine it the same way, right? Okay, so Apartments at Caesar. So in your mind, what would that look like here? Like what, yeah.
Are we just? Hmm, are we pushing Caesar into
Eh,
the first entry?
Yep, that's what we're doing. We're pushing Caesar into the first entry here. Flip. And let's just create our own here. Might as well. Here, table. And the cool thing about this is that, well, let's see. We got one here, blip. So I just push Caesar here, blip. And this is the first entry. Okay. This is a list. The first one is the first. It's not an apartment. It's not based on apartments. It's not based on anything. It's just a list that is dynamic, that it can grow, and it can, it can grow and get smaller based on what we do to it. Okay, so we're not bound by any size or by anything really. So if I wanted to add another, I wanted to add Dave. How would I add Dave?
Copy paste time.
Yep. Yeah, just Dave right there, right? And then that would create, that would put it on number 2. Okay, let's see. Where is the freaking ad? Well, you guys get my point. Some bitch. Oh, it's over here. Oh, okay. Insert row. Hello. There you go. Dave. 2. Yeah, so you guys see my point here. So again, Dan. And the same. So do you guys see how we're just growing and growing and growing here? Let's see. Okay, we don't need this here. Well, I'll just add one more just in case, just to match up. And Bob. Bob. All right. So, and again, this is dynamic. We could put as many and remove as many as we want. And these are very, very powerful. Lists are very powerful because we could do some pretty sweet things with them. Well, and the way you remove something is you say apartments dot remove. All right, so
it's so very easy to look at.
yeah. So what kind of well, let's remove Bob. So question to you, since this type is dynamic, well, in here, no matter what we take away from here, right, the size is always going to be 5, correct?
Can we change the size of it?
No, it's always going to be 5. Like, we can't change the things inside the information that's inside, right? But
wait, we're looking at the array again.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, we're looking at the array. Yeah, sorry, I'm up here. Yeah, my eyes are up here. So yeah, so we're looking at the array. Yeah, so it's always going to be 5. We're not changing the size of this at all, correct? Yeah. I mean, we're changing the information inside, but we're not making it bigger or smaller.
Right. It's still reserving that much memory.
Yep. And the boxes are, always the same, whether or not they're empty or not. Okay, so if I said apartments dot remove and then Bob, what do you think that's going to do?
Take away Bob from the 4th entry.
That's right. It's going to kill Bob right here, and Bob is going to go out. Let's see, delete cells. Boom. That's right. Oh. Goodbye, Bob. You suck. Get out of there. Yep. So Bob is gone. How do I delete? No. Son of a bitch.
That man was crazy with the wild eyes.
Yeah. He was always looking at me. Too kind of weird. So yep. So you guys get this right here, right? Okay, so okay, delete cells. Let me see. Delete entire. Oh, I think this is what we want, right? There we go. All right, so we're good here. Delete Bob. Let's see. One of the functions that this has is, let's call it count. Old list. One of the functions that it has is called count. I'm gonna put it up here. All right, list dot count. So what do you think that would do for you?
It'll let you know how many entries are filled or how many exist.
Yep. So if I said list dot count, how many would it give me here?
3.
Yep, equals 3.
But we're not starting on 0 on this one, are we?
Nope. This one, the concept is different. This one is first, second, last, and so on.
Nice.
So it's pretty good. You can sort of treat it as an array, but it's kind of weird. You have to turn it into an array by using one of the commands. But anyway, okay, so yeah, so far so good. So if I wanted to add something to the list, how do I add Barbara? I wanted to add Barbara here. How do I add Barbara?
Apartments.add.
Yep.
And Barbara.
That's right. Let's go with
Barbara.
Yeah. Barbara. And let's add Barbara over there. Let's third rows below. That's a lot of rows. That is weird. Oh, okay. Someday we will master this and it will be glorious. Rows below. What does it say rows? I just want one. Just want one, damn it. Yeah, forget it. Alright. I will try one more time. Insert rows below. There we go. So Barb and 4. All right. So if I did count, how many would it be now?
4.
That's right. Yeah. Easy peasy, right? You guys got this. This is silly. This is super easy. Right? Okay. So this is good right here. You guys comfortable with this somewhat? So
Yeah.
add, remove, count, and it's it's a pretty simple concept. So it also has, what if I said apartment dot, one of the functions that it has is called first. What do you think that will give you?
We're gonna find Caesar.
Yep, that's right. How about apartment dot last?
We're gonna find Barb.
That's right. So you guys see how lists are kind of really, really, really powerful, right? And why they're really, like they're used pretty much everywhere. Arrays are pretty cool, and you still use them once in a while, but lists is where the money shot is, of course. Um, okay, so far so good. List count. Blip, blip, blip. I will give you guys this document, so don't worry about it too much. Let's see. So let's step it up a little bit. This is 100% legit, all good. Oh, what about if I said this? Apartments dot clear. What do you think that will do?
Delete all entries.
Pulling the
Yep.
fire alarm there.
Yep, everything. And what would the count be if I did clear?
Would it be 0?
Yep, because it's all gone. It is all gone. All right, this is pretty nice, right? Okay, so we're solid in this, right? Let's give ourselves a fist bump. We're in a pretty solid place over here. And again, this is right here, this is bread and butter. It's very important that you guys kind of get this and understand it, because this is, you're going to be using this all the time, 24/7, 365, especially list. Okay, so now let me throw you a curveball here. All right, you guys ready? Okay, so if I were to write, if I were like this, let's see. Let's see, var. No, might as well. Let's see. Person. Adventure. No, let's just party or something. Party equals you. All right. What do you think that does, or what that would accomplish? Let me go over here. Oh, well, let's leave it here. Yeah, actually, let's move it down. Yeah. What do you think that will do if I were to do that? Is it better? Oh, actually.
Are we creating a new list that is our party out of an existing list of people?
No. Give me 1 second. I think. Let me think of another name. Well, adventuring party. Adventure party. I was gonna say Fellowship of the Rings, but yeah, adventure party. All right, so. Oh, actually, even better. My bad. Sorry. Roster. So explain to me, when you look at that, what comes to your mind, and what do you think? What do you think of it? What is it? Well, first of all, describe what it is.
It looks like we're assigning a list roster as a new list.
Well, remember, we're creating. That's what you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Because remember, whenever you see this, that means, hey, I am creating something of this type, and I'm going to call it roster.
But the list entry is all of persons.
Exactly. Yes. So this is going to be a collection of what?
People.
Exactly. Remember, we're dealing with collection. So this is a collection type of person. It's people. Let me ask you a question. You guys understand what this is, right? And what it is, right? Is it easier to read, and will you understand it, or would it confuse you if I said this, or the other way? It's the same thing. It's just a short version, less confusing way. Basically, this says create. This says create this with whatever type they choose over here. Actually, let's just keep it the way it is. There you go. That's better. Okay, so yeah, so I know don't get hung up or confused by the actual syntax. It's pretty easy. All it is name of variable that you want to create and the type of variable that you want to create. I kind of skipped over that before, my bad. This is in C#, by the way. So we're kind of clear here that we're creating a collection of what?
Persons.
Yeah, of persons, right? Yes. And this is good. This is good. So I have a roster, and now I'm going to have a collection of people, of persons. So how many are in there right now when it's created?
0.
There's 0, yeah. So how can I put one in there? I want to put one in there. What do I do?
Person.add.
No.
Roster.add.
Yeah, remember roster, because roster is our actual collection. That is what in the actual handle in memory that we need to access, that we use to access that. So add, there you go. So we need to add a person to it. Do we have a person? What can we add to it? Do we need to create a person before putting it in there?
I'm gonna guess so.
Yeah.
Don't have anything written in.
Yeah, no, yeah, we don't have anything. So let's create a person. How do I create a person? Create me, a person called Caesar. How would I do that? Let's assume that we have something of type person, because we do already, right? Remember our type? Our class? So in here, we can create something of type person. Here. So let's create something of type person. How do I create something of type person here beforehand? Do you guys remember? Well, I mean, we just did it here. We just created a list of persons called a roster, right? So how do you create one? Create a person called Caesar. I don't know if you guys remember the type over here. Yeah, type person. You guys remember this type here, the class?
Oh, you've got it over. I was looking for that.
Yeah. I'm giving you guys a hint. I mean, it's also sort of here, because this is a collection which takes something of this type. So how do you create something of that type? Do you guys know? Well, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's person Caesar equals new what?
Person.
Yep. I know this is tricky, but once you get this, it's pretty easy. All right. And since I have something of type person, an object, basically I have an object of type person called Caesar, right? then I can put it in here. Caesar. Of course, this is a little bit more complex in your mind. It's a little bit more complex because what this looks like in memory now, right, is something of a different type. Do you guys remember? I think it was up here, in fact. Let's see. Here.
Yeah.
This is what something of type person looks like in memory. So, let's see. Okay, so well, yeah, we'll get there. Something of type person, and I created something of type person and I put it into the roster. Into the roster list. Now, do you guys, so is Caesar empty? Does it have any info on it?
We have the info from above, unless we're starting fresh here.
Yeah, no, we're starting fresh right now. Yeah.
So we want to add in
Yeah.
class, hit points, and all that again.
Well, yeah. Let's say Caesar dot. Well, let's make it easier. Let's just do it in actual code here. Make it much easier. Let's see. Oh. All right, over here. I'm just gonna call it. Let's see, public wait person to list. I'm just don't mind me. Okay. This is actually real code here, and it sort of understands what it is. So in here, are we good with this? This creates a list, and it actually tells you, it's like, hey, look, writes a method search, manipulate, list of objects. And we just created something of type Caesar. So before we even put it in there, let's create something of type Caesar. And name. Since they're creating me, we're going to call it, what's going to be the name? I guess this is Caesar, right? What is it? Job. I guess it'll be the healer. Like I said, I know this is a little bit tricky, but you know, we'll get there. It'll take a few bumps. And age, I guess 11. Okay. Here. And let's just my hit points, I guess.
And it automatically understands these, like name, job, age. We don't have to declare them elsewhere.
We did. It's right here.
You're tricking me out.
Yeah, that's why it's so powerful. You see, we're using something that we created before. It's a class that we created before. And a class is just a type, just like a string or anything else. It's just a complex one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you see, it's smart enough to understand, because you see when we said person, here, we're creating, you see where it says here person? It's grabbing this template or this blueprint, and it's creating one of this type in memory, like an actual, not an abstract, an actual tangible object, a real object in memory. And we can manipulate that object and put things in it, take stuff out, pass it around, and do the hokey pokey with it. That is very important. Okay, so yeah, so you guys see how powerful this is. You see that we're accessing types, a type that we created, and we can make we made one here, and we can make a group of these things and call it a roster here. And how do I put it inside the roster? You guys remember?
Roster.add.
Yep. Add, and then Caesar. Is that somewhat clear? Right here. So let me ask you a question. Let's say I wanted to create three people. I wanted to create three people, and and put it in the roster. I don't really need a list for that. I could just create three different people and use them, just like I would with any other variable, right? Just pass them around, do all these things, and that would be fine, right? With three, it's not really an issue, correct? It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But then, what if you needed to create or deal with 100 or 1,000?
Whoa.
Then it would
change the ones you got, right?
it would be a lot. So for example, you see how we have variables here? So let's say you remember arguments, right? Remember we have arguments for this. So just keep that in mind for now. Let's create a couple of more people here. We're good. All right. And let's put it in the roster. Okay, let's create Dan. Dan, how would that go? Oh man, I should have.
Person Dan is a new person. Can you clear that out?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, right? But let me just cheat. Replace.
Yeah, I noticed the replace functions in Visual Studio Code, and
Oh yeah,
it's
really,
a little bit harder to work with.
it's pretty powerful. You just need to get the hang. Like I could do what I just did in here. It's the same thing. If you do this, it's the same thing. But since I already have this here, I don't want to affect this code in a way.
Yeah.
I think I could highlight it perhaps. But yeah, so well let's see, Warlock. Okay. And we put a new in here. Blip. Is this good right here? Are you guys good with this somewhat?
Looks good.
Okay. So and then let's do one more. Let's do Dave. And that would be Dan.
Alright, so we have a leader. We're going to have a controller and a striker. What's the fourth one I'm missing?
Well, there's DPS, healer, and tank.
Tank.
Yeah, tank, I guess the Warlock could sort of tank with controlling stuff, I guess. Oh, yeah, so... Yeah, I'm a healer, Warlock, DPS. Well, tank, I guess. Yeah, we need a tank. Because Warlock and DPS, they do damage.
Yeah,
Tank
that's
like
a
a
striker.
Yeah, exactly. Like a knight. The one that
Knight.
that with the shield, the one that takes damage and protects everybody.
Knight.
Paladin. Yeah. Oh, so knight. There you
Paladin.
go. Okay, I like knight. There we go. Yeah, Dave. Hit points 20. So far so good. So far this makes sense, correct? So we got something of type person. We have a roster. This is the roster, of our venturing party, Dan, and created something of type person. We put it in the roster. Okay. And we have a bunch of, so we have 3 person objects in memory represented, inside the roster, which is pretty good, which is pretty cool. So can you guys, in your mind, what does this look like in memory to you? Because it's kind of important. Does it look, I mean, do you guys have a vision of what it looks like?
We have a bunch of person boxes with information
That's right.
put together in blocks in a group.
That's right. So it's kind of like a bunch of these. It's like 3 of these stacked together, in a way, and within one big box called roster. Let's see. So kind of like this, with, of course, other stuff. Dan and Dave. I'm not gonna do it all, but this is just to show you what it's like, right? And I guess you would have another something bigger. Well, I guess, yeah. And this would be called, what would this be called?
Roster.
That's right. Roster, list of persons. Okay. Beautiful. So yeah, so in your mind, this is really good. This is really good. So it's important for you guys to kind of, think about this, kind of imagine this, in your heads, what it looks like. A couple of questions. If I were to do roster dot last, what would that be referencing?
Whichever entry is the final one that we put in.
Yep, and that is
Dave.
Dave. Yep, that is Dave. So if I were to say roster, and remember, these are, what types are these?
A type person.
That's right. So roster.last represents a type person. So look at this. You guys ready? So if I press dot, which again, it's accessing the inside of an object to see what's in there. Oh. So if I say, so what would this be equal to?
Equal to night.
That's right.
Huh.
What about this?
111.
Yep. What about this? What about that?
That'll be our healer, right?
Yep. What about this? What if I did that?
Crash.
Nope.
What?
Just be,
Oh, yeah.
no.
You're changing job.
Yep. That's right. I'm changing the job. Also, what about if I did this? Let's see. hit points equals 55.
Give him a boost.
That's right. So you guys can see how I'm accessing a lot of these variables and how they kind of interact and how I'm accessing them through a list or a collection of them. So since it's a collection of them, it remembers like an apartment of sorts, and I have access to them by doing this. Now, why would I want to use a list? It's kind of important. Why use them? Why not just instead of have one list with all with different people's names with different people in it? Why not just have 3 people, right? And it's a valid question. It is a very valid question.
Add a member to the party, or remove one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it helps you treat something as a group, as a unit, right? Like a party, which really is what we're doing here. Is the roster of an adventuring party of yeah. So add somebody to it. So treat something as a unit, and you could do things to it. You could affect everybody in the roster at once if you wanted to, or do things to them together, or much easier because you're treating it as a whole in a way. Does that make sense? I mean, sort of.
So if we were going to take out hit points from all members of the party.
Yeah, you could do that in kind of one shot. Yeah. I mean, you could just the way you could do that. I mean, like this is. I don't want to confuse you guys, but yeah, if you do that. Do not pay attention to what I'm about to do, all right?
Actually, I'm paying a lot of attention because I've run into the 4-H a couple times.
Oh, we'll get there. That's the next thing right here. Let's see. This is kind of very short-handed here. Okay, so let me show you the power of list. Okay, so here, this is a short-handed version of saying, well, in your mind, when you see this, what do you think it does in your imagination?
For each member of the roster, if
Yeah, not if.
the hit points is greater than or equal to 20.
Oh no! Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. 1 second. Ignore this. Just ignore this part here. Yeah. All this means is each one in the. You actually read it perfectly. You read it correctly. Basically, X is gonna represent each member of roster, each item in roster. That's all. Just forget about this thing here. Actually, I'm even gonna do this. Yeah. X represents each one in roster. So, do you guys see that? I mean,
so we're just each one is equal to 20 hit points.
Yep. So there, I'm actually setting each person's hit points to 20. Do you guys see how cool that is and how I can do that in one statement? I mean, this is advanced statement. I don't expect you to kind of understand or replicate what I'm doing here.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, but you sort of understand, right? So other than if I didn't have this, if I didn't have a list, how would I need to do that? If I had 3 people, if I didn't have the list roster and I have the 3 persons, Dave, Dan.
Have 3 lines changing our hit points.
Pretty much. So it have to be Caesar dot hit points equals 20. Dan's dot hit points equals 20. And Dave dot hit points equals 20. Okay. So imagine that we have 3 people here, right? And 3 people's fine. What if we have 500? It would
Hire a
be
lot of extras.
exactly. It would be 500 lines, right? Well, how many lines? How would this change? It wouldn't. This works whether it's one, two, three, 500, or a million. It works for everything in the list. While if we had different items and they're all over, they don't belong to any unit and they're kind of separate, you have to do it individually, which is kind of a pain in the ass, right? So lists are really, 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 really powerful. And so are arrays. They're really, really powerful because you could do a lot of things very quickly and in groups. One more quick example. Let's say we have I have a function, right? The function is called send email to the roster because I wanted to send email to the roster, right? Or actually no, set set hit points to roster, which sets max hit points to whoever you pass, right? Or set hit point. Well, actually, one second. Set max hit points. All right, so in here you're going to pass, in this function, you're going to pass to the people and you're going to set the max hit points of whoever you pass in here as an argument, right? Okay, so normally the way we've done it is person, right? Person 1, and person 2, and then person 3. When we actually use it, it would be something like instead of this, let me see. Don't get confused. Just give me 1 second, just to illustrate what we've been trying to do here. All right. So again, we have this function here, and let's say I wanted to set the max hit points of our party, right? So set max hit points, and who's in my party? Who like how many people do we have so far?
3.
3, right? So who do we have? We have Caesar, right? Get Dave. We got Dan. Okay. So do you guys see how this goes in here? This gets mapped to the second guy, and this gets mapped to the third guy. And then those dudes, whatever it is, they get set to 20. Does this make sense, sort of? Because I know we might need to do a refresher on functions, but you guys see this function, right? That it takes 3 people.
Yeah.
And sets their max hit points. All right. So if we had, let's say, 10 people in our party, so you would need to have how would we? Let's say I have 9 people in my party. Let's make up some names, and I needed them all to be at max health. How do I do it? Just make up any names.
The way we're currently going?
Yep.
I mean, we can go through the Bible: Mike, Mark, Luke, John.
No, yeah, exactly. But how would I So I would either expand this here, right, to up to person 9, correct? And then do the same thing here, right, up to person 9, right? and then pass a whole bunch of names off to person 9, correct? Or use this 3 times. Let's see.
Just with different names.
Just with different names, yeah. Like Bob, Billy, or whoever. Billy, Dan. Sorry, yeah. Yeah. Running out of names here. There you go. Look at those sweet names, right? Yeah.
Stretching out, man.
Yeah. So you guys see how when you're dealing with a lot of data of the same type, it gets pretty ugly, right?
Yes.
It gets pretty crazy. Like we had to use this 3 times, or we had to expand this to 9 and do this for 9 people. And that's stupid. That's crazy, right? So what if we had something called, okay, you guys ready? Let's have the same thing or something similar. Let's see. And instead of taking a whole bunch of, people, right? Why don't we take something of a list? So we can handle the list in one shot and then operate everything that we do on that list. Actually, we're dealing with people, sorry. Person.
I don't know. That sounds like it might make too much sense.
Yeah, man, it's way too much sense here. It's crazy. Your roster. And instead of, and then it would just be the same thing here. Just 1 line of code, really. And again, this would work for infinite amount of people. Just as many as there's people in the list, that's how many times it would do this. And it's pretty cool because it could be an empty list. And it would say, hey, we don't have any, don't do anything. We're cool because there's none. And that's okay. We got 200, let's do it. So you guys see how clean this can be versus having to deal with a lot of different variables names, right? So lists are kind of powerful, right? I mean, you guys like lists? Lists are nice.
I'm liking it now.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. Let me show you guys a quick trick also. I know this is kind of weird. Okay, so a roster, right? It's a list, but let me show you something. Do you guys see this toArray? It's a sweet function, right? And it lets you treat a list as an array. So if I do 0, that would be whoever's in the first place or the 0th place. So the name for this, that is the equivalent to what? By the way, this is sort of the same thing as this. They're the same thing. This is a function that turns an array, turns a list into an array, but let's not confuse ourselves. I just wanted to know that when you're playing with it, you can do that. But don't play with it too much or you go blind, right, and stuff, or you're playing with it. But yeah, so far so good. Okay, lists. How do we feel about lists? Are they sexy? Are lists sexy? Do we like them? They're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. So now that we have the basic I'm sorry, what was it? Yeah, currently we have the basic variable types. So Give me the basic variable types. We got this, the data types. You guys got this? All right. So we got this, and now we got arrays, and now we got lists. So now we're big boys. We're almost big boys. Once you get to play around with lists and arrays, that means we're big boys. So we're getting there. All right. So let's see. Okay. Do you guys need a minute before we move on? Because the next stuff is gonna be it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be damn. It's 10:30 already. Jesus Christ. Damn, time flew on that one. I think. All right. So let me see what we got here. Okay. So let me give you guys a choice. Do you guys want to go over some of the basic flow constructs, or just chill and continue for the next time? It's up to you. Because I mean, this is a good stopping point, or going over some of these things. Or do you want to go over the if statements and loops? It's up to you. How's your brains?
Fried.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you guys a little extra stuff, and I will give you some assignments maybe until maybe to have them ready for Sunday. But yeah, you see how we're getting some of these tools and we're starting to use them. Of course, since we have a list and we have a roster, and and that works. I mean, again, we're getting this. I had a question for you guys. If I had, let's say, because I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start using this. Okay, up to here. Okay, get your roster, Dave here. Okay, so up to here, we're good here. Okay, so this part, we have a list. And we have 3 persons, and we added in the list, and they're of type person. Okay, so later on or next time, or let me know how you feel about this concept. Let's make believe that there's a magical way, a super duper way of keeping data somewhere, right? And I'm going to call it database. That's right. Yep. I'm gonna call it a database, right? Okay. And let's say when I'm gonna say I say database, right? And let's say I say the date, because database will mean that I'm summoning this magic containment, right? And I have somewhere that I could keep persons in, right? It's like a cool place where I could keep persons. And then I put, let's say I'm going to put Caesar in there, right? Okay. Persons, persons. And then if I want to put a person in there, I say add. And then I'm going to put myself in there. Boom. Okay, you guys feel that? Do you guys feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now, so in essence, right? This is kind of a list, sort of, right? Okay, so I'm going to have a list, like a super magical list, but instead, because you guys see, once this thing runs, right, and we run our program, because this is in memory, but once this we finish this function, this is all going to disappear pretty much, and it's go on to the next one. It's going to go into the next part of memory or the next part of the program that is executing. So this will not exist anymore in a way. But let's say that I have a magical cool place called a database, that I have a cool list, magical list, in which I could keep that that information in there. It's a table of type, our list of type people that I could keep them in there. So if I say this, right, and then I say that right here, let me throw Dave, and then I'm going to throw Dave in there as well. Okay, so I'm throwing Dave in there. Okay, so let's say we run this code over here, correct? And our program ends, but Dave and I, we're still in the cool magic database, my friend. Isn't that cool? So what that means is that whenever we run our program or somebody else runs a program, if they have access to this cool database, they have access to our information. Or we can just use our information later on without having to worry about getting erased. Let's see, let's add Dan in here too. Alright, so we got a cool magic place, right? Okay.
I want to join the cool magic.
Yeah, right here. It's nice in here, man. It's nice. Check out over there, man. They got some good stuff over there. Some good drinks. They got some good ciders and mead over there. Okay, and so now we're in here, man. We're in the cool place, and it's permanent. So I'm gonna tell you guys another cool thing, right? Okay, so it's called scope. Okay, so do you guys see this roster here? This memory that we just created? The space of memory, right? For our list. Okay. This only exists while we're executing this piece of code here. I know, right? It's pretty crazy. So once we hit this point here, it's gone. We don't really need to concern ourselves that much for it, at least not for now. But it's something, to think about. But the takeaway here for this is that I have a cool magic place called a database that permanently, or at least for a while, stores information for us. And you could also do the same thing. You could remove people. Same thing, right? Database called remove. Remove. You guys get the idea. I'm gonna remove myself here. And what do you think that will do?
It'll take you out of the database.
Yep. Yes, it would. Okay, good. Okay, so before we move on, let me just a quick question. Let me know if you think, what do you think this will do? It's pretty easy, but yeah. Find Dave. Character. Okay. What do you think that will do? Oh, actually, person. I forgot persons here. In our magic land.
Will it take you to on entry of Dave if we have one?
Yep. And
make it a character?
Well, it would put it into character.
Right.
So it would give you a handle to the actual entry in the database for Dave. So you could change it. You could change Dave's information and do all sorts of cool stuff there. All right. But yeah, so again, don't get hung up on this. I just want you to know that there might be a place called a database later on that we might be able to put stuff in and out. which is cool. Couple of questions before we stop. How do you guys feel about this person class? Are you guys feeling it, getting kind of is it second nature yet? Do you sort of understand it? At least these parts here, right? Yep.
I'm still getting to know them, but I'll be working with some classes in our time off.
No, yeah, that's good. So it's very important. So again, um, we're getting to the point where once we become, once we do the next steps, which is gonna be if statements, basically control statements to control the flow of the logic in your program. So it's gonna be if statements and loops. Once we do that, then we're gonna go balls out and actually do meaningful things. So I hope you guys are ready for that because I think we're going to be creating, uh, like maybe like a mini game or something. Not a mini game, but something like the flow of what would generating a character would be using our class, and all that good stuff. So yes. So again, yeah, we spent kind of a lot of time in this, which is good because we made it. I think we made it solid because again, the more time we spend on this and the more solid this is for you, the less time you will have to think about it or worry about it later. I will be putting this and giving you this info, and then I'll upload all this stuff, which I really should have been doing already, and study and do the do because the next one. Again, from here on out, once we do the basics, it's gonna get a little bit more interesting because we're gonna do a lot of real world stuff, and we get into the nitty gritty.
Loops are something that I have had a lot of work with. They're easy for smaller bits of code to mess around with.
Yeah, loops are pretty good. Loops are they're not that bad. I think some teachers or people tend to overcomplicate them. They're not. Especially loops in C#, they're really easy. It's like English, sort of. So it's not bad. So we'll go over both basic loops and if statements, and then we'll go from there. So when shall we three meet again? When are you guys good? We're good for Sunday. What's up? Where we at?
Let me check my phone real quick.
Yeah, check it. Or Monday or Sunday. I mean, Sunday would be good, but it's up to you. Let me copy this.
I think Sunday I'll be okay with. I got something going on Saturday, but I think Sunday I'll be fine.
Yeah, Sunday's tasty. Okay, Dave, are you good? Good for Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday's good.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so I need to do this here. Okay, I mean, so I'll package these up and put it up here and give it to you guys. That way, you guys can open it and then mess around with it. And we're building on this too, I think. Yeah, so I think this one is useful. All right. Okay, so we are off. See you on Sunday at what time? With the 3?
3?
Yep.
3.
Sounds good.
3 o'clock. All right. Take it easy. Later. Okay, get ready. It's about to get tricksy.